All right. I hope that worked because I've got no idea what I'm doing. Sharing
Hey guys,
screen.
Tacoma Comics here,
Oh,
and if you're watching
no.
this video, this is part 3 of my...
How's that for unprofessional? Yeah, this is Tacoma Comics here, and this is Wine at Comics Late at Night, episode 4. You can see I've sprung for the fancy edition of StreamYard with banners and scrolling tickers, and yeah, I ain't going to do that again. It's just not worth it. But that's okay. We're here, and today we are discussing C-3PO by James Robinson, art by Tony Harris and Joe Caramagna on the lettering. And I just want to see what year this is. I want to say 2017, 2016, excuse me, June 2016. And the red we are drinking is a Temperamental red diamond. It's a varietal, meaning that it is not a specific grape, nor is it a region like a Bordeaux is made from grapes from the Bordeaux region of France. More, it's grapes sourced from a specific place. And in this case, the grapes are sourced from Spain. Red Diamond seems to be a California company, but this particular... What's up, Captain Comics? How you doing? This particular wine was... Cheers to you. Thanks for joining us today on Wine and Comics Late at Night. This particular wine was bottled in Washington down by the Columbia River Gorge, so kind of near me, a couple hours south, but not bad. So let me just take a big old chug here. It's not bad. This is a wine I've chosen before because it's cheap and it's probably about the best $7. Hey, Coffee, how you doing, my friend? I got your box right back. Well, I lost your box. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere around here. It's for a $7 bottle of wine. It's really good. Metaphorical. How you doing? How you doing? So yeah, this is a wine that came from like I said, I've lost my train of thought now with all this silliness about the boxes. It's not a bad wine, and for a $7 wine, it's about the best $7.99 wine that you're going to get. It is getting late. You should be asleep, and so should I. But I don't want to interrupt the Warriors with my show, so I chose, since it's cold late at night, we're going to do it late at night. If this was if this was a school year and there was actual school, I would be going up this late at night. So anyhow, it's really nice. I've never had the Temperamental before. I've only had the, they make a nice Merlot. Again, with sourced grapes, they don't actually have their own vineyard as far as I know. But if you're into wine, it's not bad at all. And I'll say this, like I say at the beginning of every show, I'm not a wine enthusiast. I'm not a wine snob. I just like wine. Taking a break from the beer. Shouldn't actually be drinking the wine. Just started the keto yesterday. Nothing but good old protein and some carbs from vegetables. But then I kill it with the red wine at night. So that's all good. From Red Ass's Winery. Nice. Nice, Captain Comics. The rhubarb wine. I don't go for many of the alternative fruit wines, except as like a novelty, but to each their own, man. To each their own. So this C-3PO, very apt that we got the red arm, and we're talking about this. I chose this in honor of May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th. I actually had the Spider-Man Wolverine original crossover that I was going to do, but I'm going to bump that to next week. So this came out, like I said, in 2016. And I think it is one of the best one-shot stories. I might even go so far as to say it is... poignant, and it's all about droids. And right from the start, C-3PO and R2-D2 were comedic relief, right? They are just there for you to laugh at, get a chuckle out of. They are Laurel and Hardy. They are actually literally designed after Laurel and Hardy, and that is what they were for. And so in Star Wars, you see them go through an incredible lot, and you don't really think about it because it's a movie, right? But the whole time they are listening to humans. and listening to other things, they're discriminated against. We don't serve their kind in here, which I love in The Mandalorian when they actually went back to the same bar in Tatooine and they had droids working behind the bar. That blew me away. But yeah, for the most part, droids are second class citizens, and when you actually start to think about it and you look across all the movies, droids are slaves. Droids are designed to serve their masters, though they have personalities. They don't have free will. They don't have sentience or free will. They can kind of do what they want in service of their masters. So, for example, C-3PO and R2-D2 went different ways on Tatooine, and they've both eventually got found by the Jawas, but R2-D2 first. They were both doing what they thought was right, trying to get the message to Obi-Wan that Princess Leia had, put in R2-D2, but they had their own way of going about it. So there is this limited amount of choice, but they don't have free will, and they don't have they definitely are slaves. So that concept, that idea, has never been fully. Hey, C. Woodard made it, man. I am, dude. He gave me an awesome shout out. See, Wood, I was looking at the back of that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles free comic book day book. I actually didn't get the special one. I was looking at the picture on the back, which, if that picture is on the front, that makes it the special one. So I screwed up anyway. But thanks for shouting me out, bro. I appreciate it. So yeah, droids are slaves, and they don't really touch upon that because you're not going to be a very successful franchise if you're like, hey, slavery is a central tenet of what we do. But it is, and they are. So you have to kind of deal and grapple with that. And they hit it in this book. And the escape mechanism that they use is this idea of they get their memories wiped, right? I remember Luke was told by his uncle, have those droids take them into town and get their memories wiped. I want them up and working in the West Field by noon tomorrow, that sort of thing. So it's just this concept that they can erase their memory, and they talk about the imprint of old memories in this book, which is really nice. So at first, the art really did not capture me in this, right? It's very almost crudely drawn, but as I was looking through it, I was thinking, you know what? This is the artist's attempt to show how droids perceive each other and show how droids see each other. And when I looked at it through that lens, I kind of dug it a bit more. I kind of really got that idea. So they're all crashing the planet, and we've got our little merry gang, C-3PO. Obviously, we know him as a protocol droid. This is during the resist. I guess it's the what is the last trilogy called? The latest trilogy, the Rise of the Skywalker trilogy, the Skywalker trilogy. This is during like Force Awakens time, and they're on a mission to capture this information to find where Admiral Akbar has been taken hostage to. And so there's C-3PO, the protocol droid working for the Resistance. There's VL-44, a security droid. We've got PZ-99, a military droid. And then CO-34, who's a construction droid. And the construction droid is very much like the stereotype of a dumb construction worker who doesn't speak much, doesn't have much words, and no offense to construction workers, just saying the stereotype. He's like, me, CO-34, construction droid, make things, build things. And then there is 2-Med-2, a medical droid, looks just like the medical droid that fixed up Luke in Empire Strikes Back in that big water tank. But then there is Omri, OMRI, who is the droid that they captured. So they're all droids without humans. They've crashed on this planet, and they kind of have to figure out what to do. And it's really kind of well done. This the art that originally didn't like this idea that C-3PO, after talking to Omri, kind of decides, okay, we're all in this together. We're going to get there together. And as they go through their exploits to get to safety on this planet and to get to a beacon to call Poe Dameron, of course, it's Poe Dameron, they kind of are musing about life, and it's really kind of funny. First, they all argue about who should be in charge, and C-3PO is like, of course, you could be in charge. Of course, you could be in charge. But you probably see that I should be in charge, right? Yes. Okay, good. And then I love this one. This one puts Omri at the center, right? That's the droid, and everybody else is around there. And what they're saying, or what Omri's saying, is like, I have nothing against you guys. I've just been programmed to be on the other side. You could have been programmed to, at some point, have worked for the First Order. There's nothing special about you that makes you resistance fighters. That's just your programming. There's nothing special or evil about me. That's just my programming. And the medical droid's like, I saved people's lives. I could have saved First Order. I could save resistance. I was actually on the ship as ballast. I wasn't even there to save anybody's lives. So they all decide to set out across this hostile planet together, and they get attacked by spice spiders. I don't know what a spice spider is, but I wouldn't want to be attacked by one because apparently they swarm. And this is kind of cool. It's like this swarming page. I warmed up to the art a lot in this. And so they're finding their way out, and the military droid, PZ-99, sacrifices itself, I don't want to say himself, itself, for everybody else to escape. And so we've got this idea now that like a droid could actually make the decision to sacrifice themselves. But then C-3PO, of course, puts it in this perspective. Security droids like PZ-99 are programmed to fight, but their secondary directive is to protect any non-combative allies around them. He sacrificed himself for us. So there's this question now of sacrifice. Is he sacrificing himself because that's his programming, or is this part of his humanity? And there's this kind of balance that we don't really know about. So it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the book. Let's take a wine break. If you got a wine, join me. And you want to join me on the air, go ahead and click that StreamYard link. In the chat, we have 5 people here, which is 5 more than some weeks when we do this, but that's okay. We're building a show. I'm actually doing a show on a weekly basis. That's already pretty good. Hey, Gomi, how you doing? Saw you in the Warriors auction earlier. I know you got something good there, I'm sure. So as we move along, Omri's like, well, his mistake is my gain. And then we move further, and we find that we're in a pit of tar, and somehow we've got to get out of the pit of tar. So what does the construction droid do? Lays down a bridge, and everybody crosses it. But as they're crossing it, they get attacked by this kind of evil tar pits shark monster here. Again, doesn't really matter what the animal is, so they don't talk about it much. But it gets them. It rips C-3PO's arm off. So got to build a show from the ground. That's right, Gomi, I do. This is kind of cool. The ripping of the arm. So they chunk it off, but they make it across safely, and they look back, and the construction droid, can see it here, is not going to make it. He's dying. So now they've lost 2 of their number while trying to get across this step by step by step, and it's not working. And then they get attacked. They get attacked again, and this time VL-44, the security droid, is the one to save them, but he also gets killed at the same time. So we are slowly, or is this is the medical droid, I'm sorry. So we're slowly dwindling our numbers down, and then we get to this point here. Right? And I love dichotomy in books. So I love the fact that you've got OMRI and then C-3PO, but then down there you've got OMRI on that side and C-3PO. And this is where it becomes, we've been slowly building up these questions about human versus droid versus just free will. And so C-3PO goes, I can't believe we survived while the others are all gone. It occurred to me that we are far older models than they were too, Omri says. For all we know, this could have been the first time around for each of them, but not for us. Heavens, OMRI, you're making me feel terribly outdated. Well, you are. We are. If you go on anymore, I'll be checking my face for rust marks every morning at this rate. Was that your attempt at humor? I can't tell. I think you might check. I might actually check for rust. Of course it was. Why, I'd never... Was that your attempt at humor? So we got this really awkward dork droid, like back and forth, but they're actually getting to the point where they're building up some trust, some camaraderie. At an earlier point, and I missed this, they're talking a little bit about memories and saying, do you ever remember something from like your past memories before they wiped your memory and gave you a new set of commands? And C3PO mentioned like, and he did all these callbacks and kind of like a fan callback thing where he's like, I remember a big city, I remember a volcano planet, I remember this, I remember that, but only fleeting bits. And I guess OMRI had a little bit more memory than this. And he's kind of going towards that memory. So they are crossing more and they're getting closer and closer and they're kind of becoming more friendly. And then, of course, the acid rain hits and it's going to melt both of them. And then what happens? You're going to have to wait because this part of the program is where we take a wine break. So the notes on this is supposed to be blueberry, dark chocolate, dark red fruits. I don't know why you'd say it's blueberries and dark red fruits with a silky smooth finish. So I get bright red fruits. I do not get dark red fruits in this. Maybe a bit of sugary chocolate smell, but don't really get the dark red fruits the way they said. A little bit more of the dark red fruits, kind of black cherry on the tongue, but the blueberry is dominant. I would not call that a silky smooth finish. The second glass went down better than the first because I had the second glass after the first. Not a silky smooth finish at all. Let's see what we have to say over here. Red Diamond sources grapes in the best locations around the world to reveal the distinct personalities of outstanding varietals. This Spanish red blend offers aromas of blackberries. Didn't quite get it. Hints of dark chocolate. I would say it was not dark. It was more lighter, more sweet, sugary chocolate. On the palate, bold flavors of black fruit. Again, that's a stretch. Meld with oak and ends with a silky smooth finish. It's not a bad finish. It doesn't linger. It doesn't stick to your tongue like a cat fur all the way or Merlot does. But I don't know I'd go as far as silky smooth. Fruit for this blend was sourced from vineyards in Spain. Grapes were destemmed, crushed, and fermented in 6 to 10 days on the skins in open top and stainless steel fermenters. Of course, I'm thinking about Lucy from I Love Lucy. The wine was aged in French and American oak for added complexity. Well, there is just the right amount of complexity for me. M3 Lions is here. Holy cow. Metaphorical's got to go to the gas station. Morning, M3. Hey, go pick yourself up a bottle, man. Get yourself a bottle and join me next week this time, and we can drink our separate bottles and talk about them like we know what we're talking about. Because, like I said at the top of the show, I sure don't know what I'm talking about. I just enjoy a nice wine once in a while. So they have made it as far as shelter, but the shelter that they're under is like the wing of a crashed plane, and basically it's going to melt in the acid rain too. So now we get this this kind of sentimentality here. What should we do, OMRI? What can we do? OMRI just sits there silent, and C3PO goes, OMRI? And so he goes, here, you have a mission. There is nothing in my directive telling me to prevent you from completing it. So again, you don't know if they're doing these things because they're developing a friendship, which is impossible for droids, of course, or because it just isn't against its programming. It goes, I've just transferred to you the information you're looking for. And C3PO goes, I don't understand. You are changing sides? He says, no, I'm not choosing sides. I'm choosing friendship. Boom, boom, boom. So kind of really touching there. And then as the acid rain gets to him, he goes, red primer. I wonder how old this code is. I never knew that I used to be red. And so there's this idea that, like, you know, he's not even aware of his past lives because they wipe his memory, of course. C3PO goes, Omri, no. OMRI, Omri, I don't know what you call him. There is no time to waste or to 3PO. You said so yourself. I will, and then 3PO 3PO is waiting. Omri goes and reaches the beacon to activate it while the acid is melting him. And you see him slowly melt away here. Dun, 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 dun. Some really nice art. Like I said, the art really grew on me in this issue from the beginning right through to the end. And then as we get to the last page, Poe Dameron shows up and he's like, "Oh, great, you got the information. Good. Well, their sacrifice wasn't in vain." And he goes, "Looks like you'll need a new arm." And C-3PO goes, "Don't worry, Master. I already have one." And so that is where his red arm from The Force Awakens came from, which of course was a big thing because people are like, Force Awakens, red arm, and that was like when we were eyeing the trailer and trying to pull out all sorts of hints in the trailer, like, he's got a red arm. What does that mean? Well, this is that story. So he's on a ship down. R2 is with him, or sorry, not R2, BB-8. Yes, BB-8, I'm fine. I know I'm quiet. You're not the first to say that to me lately. The wine's gotten to me. You have no idea how this arm offends my aesthetic sensibilities. Nevertheless, I will keep it for a while to remember. And then there's a picture of all the droids that he was on that planet with: the construction droid, the medical droid, Omri, the security droid, and the military droid. And so I think for a book to tackle that subject, right, in a meaningful way, and to not make the droids, to not pretend they're something that they're not, right, because it clearly was C-3PO's kind of sensibilities as the upper crust Englishman, but to give them some sort of humanity and to tackle this concept of slavery existing in the Star Wars universe, I think was really, really kind of ballsy of them, and I appreciate them doing it. So a good read. If you don't have that issue, you can find it in the dollar bins. Unfortunately, good stories are not what make expensive comics these days. It's first appearances, or new costumes, or kick-ass cover. Unfortunately, the introspective storytelling isn't, at least in modern comics, isn't always what makes an issue worthwhile to people. And I think this issue is very worthwhile. If you haven't checked it out, I definitely suggest you check it out and see what you think, because I think it was a great read, and I think it really kind of benefited. It benefited the Star Wars universe to kind of have that take. It wasn't necessarily a straightforward story that you were expecting or that you've seen before. All right, my friends, that is it. Next week, I'm going to be doing Spider-Man and Wolverine. I think I got a couple of bottles of those 19 Crimes bottles, because they show you got to get the app and download the app, and it shows the crime that the person whose picture they put on the front committed. There were 19 crimes that could get you sent to Australia in the days when Australia was a British prison colony. So these like gimmicky wines, but like I said, I'm not a connoisseur. I'm not a wine snob. I just like a good wine. So I'll be going through one of those and going through one of my all-time favorite reads, and that is Spider-Man versus Wolverine. All right, until next time, thank you for being here. Thanks for showing up and spending some time with me. Peace. I will catch you all later.